Hello, how are you? Amanda, Seint Artist. I'm going to talk about makeup. Today I'm going to talk about my top 3 brushes. I'm going to talk about my favorite brushes. I'm going to focus on a couple of things that I've been talking to a lot of you about. Here we go. All right, so you want to be color meshed. You like the way this makeup looks. You like how simple it looks. You like how it can save you time. So you want to try it. Send me a makeup-free selfie facing a window, a couple steps back. I'll send you your recommendations. The first 4 colors are always the very basic setup. Your main highlight, which is your foundation, brightening highlight, concealer, contour, lip and cheek. Lip and cheek is your blush and your lip color. I will send you those recommendations, and then I'll also recommend quite a few other things because I like to just get it all done in one shot. I'll also recommend brushes. More often than not, I recommend the blush and bronzer brush to start. One, it comes in a bundle with bronzer. So if you're wanting bronzer, you'll get this brush. It'll save you $10. It means you buy the brush and you get a bronzer for $4. Savings of 10 bucks. So I will recommend this. I like that you can apply everything with this short end, and I like that you can marry everything, blend everything, pick up excess product with this end. And so I always recommend this. If you want a second brush, I will pair it with the detail brush. This is a great brush for applying under your eyes, applying color corrector, contouring your face. This brush can also be your one-stop shop. I love these 2 brushes together. I use them together all the time. My third favorite brush that I don't often recommend because it's a minimal application, it's a light application. I like this for my under eyes. I like this to add my color corrector. I like this as an addition to your collection brush, but I always use this brush, especially with mature skin, especially under the eyes. I really love this brush. So I'm going to do my makeup with my 3 favorite brushes, and we're going to get started. So here's my palette. Here we go. This is what I'm going to be using today. This has my color corrector. This has my face. We're going to get started. All right, I am going to start with color correcting my discoloration. Now I'm getting a new spot on my face. This guy I'm working on, I can't figure out what color he is. Is it red? Is it blue? Is it purple? I don't know. It's not about the color you see, it's about the color it is. Sometimes with darkness, it can be a blue, which means you've got to counter it with, let's take a look here at my color wheel. If you have blue, you want to counter it with orange. I've put orange on this and it doesn't work. It actually accentuates it. Color correcting can change from day to day. I use Aspen on my red discoloration on my cheeks. I tend to just kind of fluff over this a little bit. One of the other things that I recommend when color correcting is trust the process. We are not adding a full coverage of makeup to cover things. We are muting it down and minimizing it. Now, a lot of people get confused because I'll recommend Aspen and I hear it turns my skin gray. Well, that's because it's not your main color. It's only used to reduce a color, reduce and minimize a tone. You'll still see the discoloration, but the color is reduced. So I just really want to clarify, if you see gray on your skin, remember, this is a color corrector. This is not your foundation. So I'm going to go in with my blend brush and I'm going to go into Aspen, which is a very light color corrector or contour. And I'm going to tap in to it on the small end of the blend brush, and I'm just tapping into it. I'm applying it to the end, and I am going to tap over just the areas that need it. Now, it looks gray on my skin. It's supposed... What? What? Oh, we've lost a tooth. Let me see, open up. You're not bleeding. Fabulous. I thought we had a bat in the house. Wow, look at that, everybody. We've got a lost tooth. Let's see it. Cheese. Oh boy, we got another hole in the mouth. We go get a Ziploc?
What is Ziploc?
A bag.
Oh.
Best trick, you put it in a Ziploc, then you get another Ziploc, and you put the money in it, and you... All right. Waiting. This is fun. I knew that thing was, I'm surprised that thing didn't pop out last night. Now I'm going to touch my face after I've touched her tooth. Wonder how she did that, if she just popped it right out. Probably pushed it out.
Got a Ziploc bag.
Good. How'd you get it out?
I ate the cheese and then it got out.
Oh, the cheese pulled it out. Okay. All right.
I don't know how it got there.
Why don't you go put it by your bed? Okay, I'm gonna go do my makeup. Thank you, baby.
I want to hold it.
Go for it. Hold it, don't lose it. All right. Thank you, baby. Take the dog. You go out.
You go.
Shut the door, please.
This is super cool.
That is super cool. Okay, so back to what I was saying. I don't even remember what I was saying, but okay, I'm just gonna start over. Aspen, I'm using the small end and I apply it only to the areas that need it. This spot is super dark, so I'm not going to apply a lot. I'm just gonna dust over it. You can still see it, you can still see a lot. You can still see where my aspen is. Aspen's not my skin color, so you should see it. So I'm only tapping this where I need it. And I think I've maxed out on my brush. So I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna add some more. And I'm going to pop over here on this discoloration and I'm gonna tap over it. And I'm putting a very thin layer and then I'm blending it, but I'm only blending it where I need it. That's it. Okay, I'm gonna put a little more on. I'm gonna get my little visitor here and I'm just reducing that redness down. I don't wanna add too much so you can still see, it's just not bright red. You can still see it. Now remember, yes, I've turned my skin kind of gray. I've muted down the color. This is not my foundation. It should look weird. It should look bad. It's about trusting the process. All right, the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into my main highlight. Am I? No, I'm gonna go into my detail brush and I'm gonna start contouring. And I wanna do this next because I wanna show how this is one layer of makeup and sometimes when I put my main highlight on, it can look like I'm stacking. I'm not. So today I'm using the color Astoria. I've gotten to my winter shade, which is June, and indigo is just sometimes a little bit too dark for me. So I'm gonna go into Astoria, put it on, and I'm gonna come right here, and I'm gonna come right here. And I'm gonna blend this over, add a little more. And all I'm doing here is mimicking a shadow. And so you just put this on just like that. I'm gonna put every color on actually, and then I'll blend them all together. Everybody really likes that, so why not? So I'm gonna go back into Astoria and I am going to come right here under my cheekbone, but not in past the outer corner. I like to do mine with a curve with the shape of my face. Everybody likes to apply theirs a little bit differently, but I just kind of hug my cheekbone just like this. And what I'm doing is I'm just chiseling it out, accentuating it. I like my cheekbones, so why not make them look pretty? Dress them up. Okay. Gonna go in, I'm gonna go right in front of my earlobe here and down. This is a spot you gotta be tricky about and remember because this is also a very easily forgotten area. I'm gonna go into my finger, I'm gonna push into it. I like applying my contour with my finger. I feel like I can get a straighter line and I'm just gonna smear it down either side of my nose. It doesn't have to be perfect, just either side of my nose, and then I'm gonna get right here on the tip. Okay. Next, I'm going to go in with my brightener. Yes, no, yes. Okay, I'm going to push into my brightener here, just like that. And I'm going to go right here in between my brows. And this is just bringing the lightness in. Just, it looks really scary. It's not. I'm going to add it right here to my Cupid's bow. And then a little bit right here on the middle of my chin. That's it. I'm going to skip my under eyes. I'm going to save it for last because it makes such a big impact. I'm going to use my finger and I'm going to draw a line down my nose with my finger. I feel like it gives it a more natural look when you're using your finger. That's just my own opinion. That's it. Okay, now I'm going to go into my foundation. Really easy. I'm going to stamp, I'm going to stamp into this one using the small end, and I am going to stamp, stamp, stamp. Tap and stamp, 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 bring it up right here, and then into the chin. And then a little bit right up here. Not a lot, just a bit, and that's it. Okay, so let's add some bronzer. I'm using the color Icon. This is a highlight color for deeper skin tones. I like using this as a bronzer, especially in the winter. I'm gonna stamp in onto the small end of the blush and bronzer, and I'm just gonna come right on top of that, and then right here of my contour. So going in and right on top of that contour, just like that, pretty much on my cheekbone, right here. And this is just gonna give me a kiss of sun, like a kiss of the warmth, because summer's long gone, but I still wanna have some warmth on my skin, so I add that there. Okay, I'm gonna take my finger, I'm going into Pinky Promise. It's a very pretty pink color. I'm gonna pop that right there, right in the middle of my cheek at the bottom of where I put that Icon bronzer, right there. Okay, so let's blend this out. So I'm just going to wipe this on my hand. Okay, I'm gonna go into my main highlight first, and I'm just gonna come right here, and I'm blending right onto my skin. And here's what I'm doing. Our skin tone is not one color, so we don't need to apply our makeup like it's one color. We don't need to turn our face one color just to then stack everything on top and add that structure back on. What I'm able to do is I'm able to add lightness where I want to and brighten my skin while also balancing my skin tones. So I'm just taking that brightness and I'm bringing it to my main highlight. Same right here, bringing that main highlight in to where I put that brightness right here. Right here, I'm gonna go into my brightness. I'm gonna push this to that main highlight, just like that. Okay, let's go into this contour. I'm gonna use this brush here because I'm already using it. Little circles, and I'm just blending out that Astoria contour, and and adding it into that Icon as my bronzer, and it's adding dimension, warmth. Look at that, one layer of makeup. I have an even skin tone, which means all my tones are married into one full coverage. Doesn't that look nice and natural? It also gives you this really nice dewiness. Everyone has texture on their skin. My eyebrows move, I have lines on my forehead, everyone has texture. Makeup doesn't hide texture. Makeup can accentuate texture, but it's there. You can't get away from it. You just can't. Okay. All right, sorry. I'm gonna go into my detail brush. Now I had added a little bit of highlight to this, so I'm just gonna carve this out. Okay, first thing I wanna do with my detail brush is I'm gonna go into my jawline. One, so I don't forget, and I'm pushing up in front of that ear towards my cheekbone on my hairline, and then I'm gonna pull it down. And this is going to give my jaw some structure, and then I'm gonna pull it down. Same thing over here. I'm gonna push this up, and this is just going to structure my jaw, slims it down towards the back, and I just feel like this can be a really beautiful area that's not taken advantage of. And that's it. That's it. Okay, so let's do the nose. I'm just gonna take this on the flat end, and I'm just gonna go up and down, pushing up and down, and bring, and slide. Let's go up and down, slide. Just to give it a natural fade. Get the tip. I'm gonna use my finger and I'm gonna tap over that brightening right here. And then I'm gonna go back in with my brush to give it that nice natural look. What I like to do, because I have so much discoloration, is I want to blend all my makeup, apply all my makeup, and then I'm gonna go in and give the coverage that needs coverage. So I have a zit here that might need attention, this guy that might need attention, but I don't do it during the process. I do it at the end of the process so I don't end up with excess product and excess texture. All right, let's do the cheek. I'm gonna use this corner of the brush right here to just swirl and blend. First, I'm gonna blend the contour, pushing it up. I'm just gonna blend it. Then I'm gonna bring it to this bronzer right here on the flat end, and then I'm gonna steeple onto that pink. And then I'm just gonna marry them all together, just like that. And it just makes this really nice balance. So again, using that corner, I'm just blending that contour in, going in to that bronzer, and then steepling over onto that lip and cheek color. And it just gives a warmth, but it also just brings that shadow to that pinkness to that warmth, and it lives together. Just like that. See that? It's really nice. It's just really, really nice. Okay, so let's talk about the under eyes. I get discoloration under my eyes. We can see it here. There's bags and then there's discoloration. They are not the same. If you have very baggy eyes, you can easily texturize that with too much product. You need very little product under your eyes. It's a soft tissue and there's discoloration. It's all about using the least amount of product. If you're stacking product on top of a soft tissue, you're going to add some texture. And then if you set it with a powder, it can add crepiness. I do not add powder anything above my orbital bone right here because it's soft. It can easily be texturized and it can easily look crepey because you have a lot of movement around your eyes. So here's what I do. I'm going to go with my blend brush. I always use my blend brush under my eyes, or I'll use the small end of my detail brush. I don't use my larger brushes under my eyes. So I like to use Frenchie under my eyes. It's a nice way to correct the darkness. So this is my darkness here, and I'm just going to add that pink to that area. I'm not going to cover the whole area because less is more. I have a small amount here, and I'm just going to put it right on my discoloration, and then I'm going to pat it and I'm going to thin it out. I'm doing this because it's taken that darkness and traded it for a lighter pinky tone, and then I can go over with my brightening highlight and add a lightness to my skin. All right, I'm going to go in with the small end of my brush. I'm going into my brightening, and I'm going to go over in that corner, add some more, and I'm going to go over into this corner here, and then I'm just going to tap and I'm going to bring them together, and I am going to use a light touch. Now this is soft tissue and you're not seeing it move a lot because it's cream, because my skin is warm. You don't need a heavy hand, but it just gives you a more if you're not into brightening, at least try it under your eye with a little amount of product. If you add too much product, you'll get creasing. Our under eyes move. There's going to be creasing. Setting it with a powder doesn't necessarily stop that from happening, but it can add texture. If you're using a cream makeup like Seint, use a very small amount. If you notice it's moving, it's makeup. It's not magic. It's gonna move with your skin, and it should move with your skin, otherwise it will crack. Do you want it to crack or do you want it to settle? Because they're fixed differently. If your makeup is cracked, you're going to have to apply more to make it look nice again. And it's gonna happen every couple hours. If you have creasing with creams because your eyes are moving and you're smiling or you're mad or you're whatever, all you have to do is take a finger and you just push it back. But little product will reduce any kind of creasing. You don't need a lot. If you have bags under your eyes, if you are very puffy under your eyes, the less you touch it, the less puffiness you'll have. You can certainly get cooling pads to put on before that can reduce the puffiness, but adding too much product can accentuate. If you are noticing that your bags are looking a little bigger than usual, you've probably touched them a lot and you have a lot of product on them and it's being accentuated rather than just living with your skin and letting it be. Let it be. Okay, so I'm gonna go into that brightening again, and I'm just gonna go right here. Everyone under their eye has texture. Not everybody accentuates the texture that's there. I have a lot of fine lines, especially when I'm smiling. I have some puffiness, but I put a small amount of makeup under my eyes to reduce the look of it. And it's just about tapping, a light touch, because again, if I start really ranking on this, the puffiness will puff. And then I'll just have to sit and wait a good hour for everything to settle down. But using a light hand, a light touch, and light product helps. I just really want to emphasize that because knowing the difference between a bag and a discoloration is huge. There we go. Now I had this raging spot right here, and sometimes there's just no getting away from it. And then I have this one right here. So here's where I look at my face and I say, okay, what needs attention? I need to add some warmth to my neck. I need to cover some spots. So let's do that. And I kind of want to add a little more cheek because I'm like that. So I'm going to take the small end of my detail brush, and do I have my main highlight on? I do. So I'm going to put some main highlight on there, and I'm going to tap that right over that spot. That's it. Okay. I'm going to take my main highlight and I'm going to go over this guy here. I'm going to take my finger that's warm and I'm just going to tap over it just like that. And it's the warmth of my skin kind of melts it down and spreads it out into my skin differently than a brush would. And that's how I do that. I like using a nice pressed powder. I don't recommend a loose powder if you're going to, but if you have a pimple, if you put too much product on and you use a loose powder, it's going to accentuate the texture of your pimple, especially if you're a picker. Some of us are pickers, and that's okay. I'm not telling you not to. You'll get scarring, but don't pick. If you do, sometimes you gotta, just like under eye puffing, if you just gotta let it be and it will reduce and go away. I'm gonna take my vanilla dust and I'm gonna put some on my finger here. I'm gonna rough this up because, well, it needs it. Okay, I'm gonna put some in. I just need a small amount. I'm gonna go over that pimple with a little bit of powder. Now you didn't even see it because it's such a well-pressed, fine powder. I'm not putting it on this one. I'm only putting it on the zit just to keep it there for more longevity. And that's it. Okay, so I wanna add, that's it, that's all I've done. This guy, you can still kind of see it, but it's at a place that I'm comfortable with. Not every spot can be covered. Again, it's makeup, not magic. And if I wanted to, I could cover my whole face and I could make sure nothing is seen, but I would be trading off an even skin tone for heavily textured skin. So you've got to figure out which side you want. Do you want an even skin tone, but you're going to look really cakey, or do you want to look like yourself? Do you want your skin to look like your skin? You're still going to look like you're wearing makeup, but you don't want to look like you're wearing makeup. That's how I am. I don't like a heavy makeup look. I like to look like I'm wearing makeup, but I don't want that frosting look. I don't want that chalkboard face. I want to look nice. I want to look natural with a little bit of makeup. So I'm going to go with my blush and bronzer brush. I'm going to go into saffron. I love saffron. I like saffron as a secondary color. So I'm going to put it on. It's heavily pigmented. It's a satin finish, which means it's more matte. And I'm going to smile, and I'm just going to add this right here. And then I'm going to flip this, and I'm going to fluff it. This is what I like the fluffy end for. It's just for marrying everything together. So I'm just going to add that saffron to the bottom of my cheek, just like that. Flip it, fluff it. I like using, I don't apply product to this brush. I use it just to marry everything together. If you feel like you haven't blended enough between your main color and your contour here, take this and give it circles. That's that. I tend to over apply right here, so I just fluff it and forget it. So that's my face. That's what I wanted to discuss with everybody, was my 3 favorite brushes: the blush and bronzer, the detail, and the blend brush. These are my favorites. I just wanted to talk about under eyes and using a minimal amount and not needing to set with a powder. It's just good for your eyes. It lets your skin breathe too, and you don't want to mature your under eyes by suffocating them. Okay, that's it. If you want to try this, message me. Have a good day.